How can you achieve and maintain business growth? Harvard Business School Executive Education is now accepting applications for a new program, Driving Profitable Growth, taking place in Boston from October 25th through the 28th. This program focuses on business expansion and organizational growth strategies that can lead your company into the future. Learn more about this 3-day program for senior leaders by visiting hbs.me/growth. That's hbs.me/growth.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sensational Corner. I am so excited and always so excited when I get to re-host another individual that's been on my show at one point in time. Lucky for me, I've had Josey on my show before, Josey Milner, of course. Josey Milner is the most beautiful, most gracious, and I have to tell you, just a marvel of Missouri, for lack of a better term. She's a delightful girl. She's a young musician, up-and-comer. As a matter of fact, so excited because we've got some great news that just came in, actually, in the last 6 hours or so that we get a chance to talk about as it relates to her and her music and all that good stuff. So I'm very, very excited to be hosting her today. So without further ado, let's not keep her on the line, and let's get her on and start talking. Hey, Josey Milner.
Hey!
It's you. You're here, live and in person. Oh, my God, it's been such a long time.
I know it has. Well, what's up with that?
Hey, first of all, you know what? Here's what happens. You know Michael, right? Michael Stover, of course, our mutual friend and also my favorite publicist. Yes, I just said that, Michael. He has a tendency to throw all his clients at me. So there's Josey, there's Doug Briney, there's Ed Roman, there's, Hicks, there's like 17 of you. I could interview his clients all week long, and that would be it all year. So I'm like, I'd love to have you on whenever you want. But unfortunately, you're a busy girl yourself, by the way. I mean, we're going to talk about like 60 million things that you've accomplished, and I think it's been a year since you've been on the show. I'm very proud of you. Without sounding condescending, because I'm probably as old as your mother. I mean, you're just such a young girl. My daughter's 19 years old, and I'm just like, oh, my gosh, this is like talking to my daughter. So my daughter gives me pointers on how to talk to your generation. So I'm like, okay, hopefully this will go over really well. So let's kind of get into it. First thing that I want to talk about, which most people probably don't know, because, of course, everybody knows about your music. So let's start with some of the stuff that maybe some people don't know, which is in 2014, you enrolled and are now attending University of Central Missouri. And what's really cool about this, I have to report, in your first semester, 4.0 grade point average. Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty
Pat
crazy,
that back.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about in terms of that, because obviously, of course, now you're a student, you're going to the university. This isn't like high school anymore. This is the big time. You're growing up. You have to become – how do you determine how to get more disciplined? Because in college, of course, it's not like in high school. Things are less structured, just like with music. So how does the balancing act come in? How does it work for you?
Well, I actually feel like being in college is definitely a lot more easier in high school because I have a lot more time to myself. I'm not in classes all day long like it was in high school. And so I think time has definitely been a lot easier. Now, as far as work, of course, in college you have more homework, but I've been fortunate enough to not really have to do a lot outside of school. Luckily, I have a couple hours in between classes where I'm able to work on homework before I head home and whatnot. So, right now, I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had any problems, and so far, so good. So we'll see.
Oh, my God. She's like crossing her fingers like, talk to me in 6 months, okay, maybe 3 months. And I saw you in your pretty prom dress, so apparently we attended the prom somewhere along the line there, right? So am I to assume
I did.
How was that experience? Because that's got to be kind of neat because now that you're more established, are people, is it really cool to know Josey? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think you're phenomenal just the way you are, but obviously you're getting much more famous, much more popular. Does that change things for you socially?
I think it's kind of starting to take starting to be vamped up a little bit. I mean, there's been a couple times where even around locally, we've been out to dinner and we've had people be like, hey, are you Josey? Josey Milner, the singer? I'm like, yeah, me. And it's kind of weird at first. For the first half, I'm not really used to it. And actually, the first day of college, I was walking to one of my classes and I had a student stop and say, hey, are you Josey? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you the one that sings Not Pretty Enough? I was like, yeah. And they're like, I love that song. I was like, oh, well, thank you. That was the first day of college. I mean, I've got a couple other, I've been recognized a couple other times. So it's super exciting to know that people, especially locally, are really starting to listen to my music. So it's exciting.
Oh, I imagine so, and definitely. And one of the nicest parts about that is that you're coming into your own, your style, the way that you do things. And anybody that looks at Josey, whether it's on your website or sees an actual live performance of you, you know, you're just so sweet and simple. And it's not just on the show; it's in person, just the way you vocalize and how you present yourself to an audience. It's so pleasant to see that you're not Miley Cyrus. Is that bad to say? I don't think so, but it's true.
No.
You're not the Mileys of the world. You know, you're not twerking or whatever it is that crap is that they do now. You know, you're a young lady, and you present yourself like a young lady, which is perfect for country music. You know, you kind of remind me of a younger version of, wait, it's coming. Just give me a second. It was in my head. I want to say Faith Hill, but of course the problem is Faith Hill hasn't got nearly the hair you do if you look at the Oscars on Sunday. But you're a lady. You were raised a lady, and you conduct yourself as a lady on a stage, which is very important, I think, for fan recognition. I mean, you know, I could go on all day about that, but kudos to you on that. And congratulations on being the 4.0, because I bet your mom is like, oh my God, my daughter's beautiful and she can sing and she's on the honor roll. How cool is that?
Yeah, you know, I like to think they're pretty proud. And actually, I guess the other day my mom was talking to one of her friends, and I guess her friend had been on my Facebook and been looking at everything and able to do so far. And they've got to be like, oh, my gosh, you've got to be so proud of that girl. Not only is she smart, but she can sing. She has a lot of talent. I'm like, Mom, stop. I don't want to hear this. And she's like, Josey, I'm very proud of you. And I don't necessarily get embarrassed by it, but I can almost say I get overwhelmed by it. It's crazy because, I mean, of course, I've been the one that's been doing it, and I guess I just don't realize how much I've been able to do or how much I've accomplished. And, I mean, I appreciate it all. I don't just kind of sit back and think, yeah, look what I did. I continue with it. I'm like, yeah, I did this. I'm moving on, so thank you.
Exactly. Oh, definitely, without a doubt. And I think that it's refreshing in terms of, like you were saying, and we're on your mom right now, so let's stick to that because I have a question in regards to that. I saw a post on your page not so long ago, and this is on Facebook. You guys can check this out because she has a personal page. You talk a great deal about Mom being an inspiration and a role model to you and her place in your world in terms of how what a sizable difference she makes in your life. So maybe talk a little bit about in terms of what your mom has meant with you, because I know she's taken a trip with you. She obviously went to some of the festivals that you've participated in this year. So talk a little bit about your journey with your parent and is there a downside to that? You know, because I know that she's inspiring and you love her to death, but is it difficult when you're touring and doing your thing and Mom's right there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Is she listening?
You know,
Uh-oh. Someone's
no,
going to yell at me.
I don't think so anyways.
Oh, no.
No, you know, I love my parents so much, and they've been nothing but supportive for my music career, and they've always just been there to help me with anything that I needed. So I'm nothing but appreciative towards them. And, I mean, my mom definitely does go pretty much everywhere that I go, just because I love having her support there and whatnot. Now, my dad isn't always able to make it because, of course, someone has to be at home to work. And so he tends to be the one that stays at home if he has to. But if he can't, he comes with us too. But, you know, of course, being mother-daughter, you're going to have bickerments, you're going to have arguments, but you blow over them. You just keep going. And, you know, I definitely noticed we've gotten a lot closer since we've been traveling so much and spending so much time together. And we were actually talking not too long ago about how we'll be thinking of something, and then the other one will say it, and they're like, oh, my gosh, I was just thinking about that. So that was a telekinesis thing kind of going on or what? But, you know, like I said, I mean, of course, being mother-daughter, you're going to have arguments, but I love my parents, and I love that they're so supportive and want to be there for me, so.
Definitely nice. Now, does she have those concerns, just like we were talking about? Oftentimes, you know, she's your mother. So, of course, obviously, as your parent, she has a responsibility, as we all do, in terms of how you present yourself. Does she ever have that concern that you're going to end up, you know, kind of getting more and more famous? I mean, a lot of what comes with fame isn't always a plus, as we all know in society nowadays. So I guess I wonder, does she harbor any just concerns or fears, or is she always advising you on what not to do in terms of falling into a trap that way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely think she's always there to help me with any kind of advice that I need. But, you know, as far as, you know, kind of falling down the wrong hands or not looking as presentable as I should, I think she pretty much trusts me enough to know that I'm going to know what's right, I'm going to know what's best and how to be appropriate with it just because that's who I am. I'm not going to go out and be I don't know if you want to say provocative or what word you want to use for that, because she knows I have good judgment.
Oh no, I understand.
And
of course,
you know, and so we just kind of have that trust. And if there ever is anything, then I get her advice on it. And it's typically what I would do anyways. It's just kind of a reassurance of, hey, is this what I should do, kind of thing. So.
Of course, makes perfect sense, definitely. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit because I know that you're pretty adamant and active, of course, on the whole anti-bullying project, which we'll get into. But one of the things that I thought was really cool, and kudos to you, Michael Stover, for making her do this, you participated in the ALS Challenge this year. Actually, last year, 2014. Now, I have to ask, because you know what? I don't think I've interviewed anybody that I can recall that's done the ALS Challenge. So I'm standing here and I'm watching this video of you, and I'm thinking to myself, God, that's got to be terrible. So it's like, what's that like to have all this ice dumped over your head? And I'm like, oh my God, that's got to suck.
It was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Well, because that video, I actually was pretty upset at that because it was my birthday the day I did that, and it's the first day I had college. And my hair was good and everything else, and so I had just a little tiny bucket of water. I was going to play ahead because it still counted. And, of course, I couldn't get by with that. So apparently my mom had been talking to my dad and said, hey, Josey's going to do this, so you're going to soak her, okay? And, so yeah, that didn't go as planned. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you poor girl.
I did not talk to my dad for the rest of the night because I was so upset about that. But, you know, it was for a good cause, so I got over it. But, you know, it was upsetting.
See, folks, she'll do just about anything for charity. We like a kind of girl like that who'll do that, because I give you a lot of credit for that. I mean, I'll go run and I'll do the polar plunge and all that jazz and stuff, but it's just like that's a whole different thing. And I admire the fact that everybody was stepping up for ALS. It's absolutely awesome. So it's momentary, though. You got through it, and you're looking fabulous, because I just saw you the other day. So I'm like, yeah, she's doing just fine on that. But I just had to throw that out there. I'm like, how cool is that? He got her to do the ALS Challenge. Awesome. I think all of his artists should have to do that. Michael Pearson, all those guys, I think they should all do it. I'm saying it on my show right now. I'm going to challenge every one of them. In fact, I'll do that tomorrow.
Snap.
I'm going to put a post up, and we're going to challenge every one of them, including Michael Stover. So in case he's listening to this right now, it's on for him too. So since he got you, I'm going to get him right back. And then I'm probably going to end up getting it at the long run. I can see it because I'll be getting my butt dumped too. So thanks a lot, Josey. Thanks for getting me into this now. Appreciate that. Great. Moving on. Let's go to something different here. Now, I know it's taboo to go to this part of the interview and talk about it now compared to the last part, but you've been on the show before, so I bounce around and you know this. The word on the street is the single Red, White, and Blue is going to be coming out on March 30th. So let's talk a little bit about, are you changing your musical style? Is it going to be similar to the same kind of stuff that we're used to? Talk a little bit about composition and creation of that particular single.
Definitely. You know, I think Red, White, and Blue definitely is going to be pretty different than the two songs I've released so far. But there's still going to be Josey. It's still going to have that little kind of spunk to it. And
right.
I'm so excited about this song because it's a patriotic song, and I've been wanting to do a patriotic song for quite some time now. And I think this song's pretty perfect, and I fit in with it really well, and I think a lot of people are going to like it. So it's still pretty upbeat. It's not pretty slow at all. And the production sounds wonderful on it, and I just my producer, Micah, which is the one that's produced both Not Pretty Enough and Cowgirls, I know once I have him, it's in trusting hands because he can do wonders with music. So
sure.
Since he has a hold of it, it sounds beautiful, and I can't wait to release it. I can't wait for people to hear it.
Oh, neat. That is cool. Now, I remember at one point in time when you did your last one, you were asking people to actually help you with your video, if I'm not mistaken. So are you going to have an accompanying video or things to go along with this single as well?
We are in the process of hopefully doing a video for this song. It's not 100% decided on because then there's also one other song that we're thinking of doing a video on, and we don't know if we want to do a video for both songs or just one song. So that's still kind of in the works. It's not for sure yet.
Gotcha. Okay, because I figured, oh, great, we'll have this good thing to release on the show. Like, hey, folks, guess what? But she's still working on it. All right, that's fine. Okay, wonderful.
Sorry.
So we'll just wait. She's just going to make me wait for everything here. That's all right. I understand. I see how this works. It's fine. I understand. So let's switch gears again a little bit, and I want to talk about CMA Week, because I know that you were at the CMAs in Nashville, from what I recall, and I can't remember exactly when that was, but I saw the different pictures as far as CMA goes. So I want to ask you a question about that, because you're a younger artist and you haven't been around and in the scene as much as, let's say, some of the old-timers, for lack of a better word, that you've gone to see at the CMAs. Is it more of an exciting time for you that, A, yes, it's exciting to be participating, but more so to be people watching, for lack of a better term? You know what I mean? Meeting some of the idols, meeting some of the people that kind of helped to bring this industry along to the point where it is now.
Yeah, I definitely would say it's a little bit of both, honestly, especially during fanfare, just be able to be down there when you know there's so many other country music artists down there, you know, well-established or up-and-comers like myself, and, you know, just get an opportunity to talk with them and just kind of talk about their experiences or what they've gone through and just kind of relate to them. And then, of course, arguing with stars, they're going to see, like, oh, my gosh, is that really them? And I remember last year I was kind of back in the, I don't know if you call it a VIP room, what it was, but there was some people back there and we were sitting, and I was going over and talking to one of the people we knew down there, and he was sitting at a table, and right kind of next to him was Dustin Lynch. And I walked over, and there was nowhere else to sit except for right next to him, but he had his phone kind of right there. And so I asked, I was like, is anyone sitting here? And he's like, no. And he's like, feel free to sit down. And so I was like, oh, okay. And of course I had to stay really calm and be like, oh, my God. But inside
she's like sitting here tweeting, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, so that was super exciting in itself, just be able to sit next to him. Now, I talked to him a little bit, but it wasn't like really in-depth conversation. But, you know, having experiences like that is really cool. But for the most part, Nashville is just an all-around amazing atmosphere, and I love going down there anytime I get to, especially when it involves fanfare, so...
Oh, I imagine so, definitely. And the other thing that I'm noticing here is that Nashville, a lot of the artists are going from different places, like from Canada, or like, you know, Hicks is coming from Sweden to come in and all that good jazz and stuff. Nashville seems to be that intricate part, or central part rather, where individuals go to get recognized, to have their music played, etc. I was just thinking today, and I know this might sound weird, but I have friends of mine that are on the show Nashville, actually, and I say to myself, you would make such an excellent fit for that show. Do you know that? I mean, you remind me a lot of Lennon Stella is one of my friends, and I'm like, she's a young girl, she's a young musician, and of course her sister's on the show too, and I'm like, has anybody ever pitched you for that show? Michael Stover. Sorry, did I just say that graciously? Yes, I did. Because, you know, Nashville's like the show. You know, they've got artists all over the place. That one kid, Sam Padillo, is from, you know, he's a British, you know, singer. Jonathan Jackson is on there. He's a musician. I mean, it's such a great outlet for musicians. I'm like, we should see if you can get pitched for Nashville. Just my take. I mean, you're there already. You went to the award show. I mean, why not?
I think I'd probably have a heart attack if that were to happen, because Nashville is like one of my favorite shows right now. I watch every single Wednesday when it's on, and it's like my favorite show right now. So I think if I was to get the opportunity to be on an episode, holy cow, I would probably have a little heart attack over that one.
OMG. So here's the real question. Are you team Deacon or team Luke?
I'm team Deacon.
I knew it. I so knew it. Because you know he's an alcoholic and he's done all these terrible things to Raina, but it's just like, oh, my God, now he's dying. And then we're all like, oh, my God, are they going to end up together? I'm very excited to say that my dear friend Rich is on there tonight. Yes, it's exciting and it's awesome, and I love those actors. I'm actually trying to get an interview with him right now, Deacon. So I've been begging and pleading and trying to find everybody I know. So if anybody's listening and you know Charles' publicist or manager or whatever, get a hold of me, because then we could have Josey Milner co-host. Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be fun?
Holy cow.
You could co-host Interviewing Deacon. Wouldn't that be exciting? Oh, my God, right?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if I'd be able to talk very clearly, but I would sure try.
Oh, that would be awesome. Or you know what you could do? I know this much. I know at some point in time, it's not going to be soon because he's recording right now, Jonathan Jackson, who's Avery's character, is going to come on the show. So,
oh my gosh,
if you're an Avery fan, you could totally talk to him. I think that's so exciting because he's such a cute little boy. To me, they're all boys.
Oh,
I'm like, unless we get Deacon. If we get Deacon, then I think you'll do the show because I can't talk to him because he makes me nervous. He's very pretty. I mean, attractive. I mean, whatever. Oh my gosh, listen to this. Girl talk. Here we go. I know, right? He's just so cute, and he sings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I say? Although I will admit, Luke's not bad. I mean, even though he's a bad guy, he's a great actor. He's a great singer, too, actually. I actually have to say that. I'm trying to get him on the show, too. What can I say? All right. I guess we should stop talking about Nashville and talk about you. Exactly, that's right. Okay, so very recently, I just came to find this out not so long ago when I was scrolling through it. In fact, today, as a matter of fact, you just got 2 nominations from the Midwest Music Awards, one of which for Best Country Artist, and of course, Song of the Year, which is of course for Cowgirls. And surprisingly, that's the very first country song ever in the 5-year history of Midwestern Music Awards that this has happened. So kudos to you on that. That's a huge accomplishment. So 2 questions in reference to that. People are going to want to know, because I posted it up earlier on my Facebook page, but tell people in general, first off, the easiest way for them to vote, and then second of all, the easiest way for them to get access to listen to Cowgirls, and tell them a little bit, of course, about the ballot itself.
Yes. Well, yeah, like you said, I'm up for them 2 awards, and I was super excited about that, especially for the Song of the Year. And like you said, it being the first time a country song had ever been up for that.
Right.
So I've been working my butt off to try to get some votes because it is fan voted. So I need support from fans. And I think the easiest way is you can either go to my fan page, which I've been constantly posting a link to go vote, or if you go to projectbackstage.com, they have a link on there to go vote too. And I actually today I was able to get a hold of a list of all the students that are in my major at school, and I was able to send them all an email saying, "Hey, go vote for me, please." So I'm hoping that does a little bit. But like I said, I would work my butt off, but I really want to bring this one home, especially with the song. So go vote. Please go vote. Please go vote. Please go vote. And if you want to go listen to the song, just go to my website, www.joseymilnermusic.com, JOSEY music.com. And I have Cowgirls on there, Not Pretty Enough, and you can also go kind of get a sneak peek on iTunes if you would like to.
Oh, gotcha, definitely. Now, the inspiration behind Cowgirls, is that something that was more personal to you, talking more relative to yourself? Where did that come from?
Well, we actually found that song. I did not write that one, which is very ironic. But no,
I know.
We found that song, and actually we couldn't decide if we wanted to do it there for a while. And so finally, like, you know what, we're going to give it a try and see how it goes. And so we did it, we released it, and obviously it went huge. I definitely think it went a lot better than what we first anticipated. And so, you know, went number 1 on the Independent Country Music Internet chart. It went number 74 on Music Row, which is a huge deal, especially for independent artists. So, you know, we're super excited about it.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's no surprise to me, obviously, of course, for being picked Song of the Year as far as echoes and such. Now that you're starting to rack up a nomination after nomination and award after award, you know, and you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, okay, is this the point in time where you're saying to yourself, okay, well, let's get a game plan for the next year or 5 years. Like within 5 years, I want to have accomplished this. We'll have this many albums. Do you have more of a formalized plan for Josey, let's say, now that all of this is starting to fall in place?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can actually have a formalized plan with music because it's so unpredictable. But ideally, you know, I'd love to be able to hopefully get on an international tour someday, or be able to, you know, be heard on the radio more frequently or whatnot. So, you know, it's just kind of a day-by-day step right now. You just got to go with it. You got to continue forward with it. You know, we're constantly putting hard work into it and constantly making new connections, and we're getting closer and closer. So it's very exciting, especially with how well things have been going. And especially here recently, we've had a lot of people contacting me, wanting me to come perform at their venue, when it used to be we'd have to contact them. So just the fact of, you know, everything's starting to play out, and people start to connect to us, and, you know, more people are reaching out more on Facebook and staying more connected, and it's really exciting. And I can't wait to see how everything works out. You know, hopefully it works out for the best, but hey, you never know.
I was just going to say, are you listening to your history so far? It sounds to me like you couldn't have gotten a better deal, girl. Seems to me that you can't fail if you tried. I don't know if you're, you know, we'll read through these nominations and awards in a bit, but it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you haven't noticed, you're a pretty big deal. Hello? Just saying. You're a bigger deal than me at this point. And I've been around as long as you, actually longer than you. Well, I can't say that. I will admit, I can share your sentiments as it relates to people now calling me. It's kind of nice till you get to that point where all of a sudden you're working, now people are coming to you. And I'm very fortunate in that regard now, too, and I appreciate that. And I love the fact that Michael came to me and he's saying, you know, you did a great job. Let's have you come back. I love having you guys on the second time and third time. And on a side note, when you were talking about doing tours together, why are you and Doug Briney not going to do a tour together? That's what I'm thinking.
I never said
Michael.
we're not going to.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, we performed a couple times together. He came up to Kansas City, and I performed with him at one venue up here, and then he was in St. Louis. I went and performed with him once again, and I've seen him in Nashville and whatnot. We performed together. We just haven't toured together. I'm not saying that's out of the question because it's possible, but you never know. Like
Really?
you said, you never know.
Don't get me all excited for nothing here because I'm like waiting for that moment where she's going to say, yes, we're going to do this little mini tour. But I guess that's not happening today.
I don't know.
No.
Let's have to see.
All right.
I don't know.
Fine. Keep me waiting some more. Boy, this is getting to be a bummer. No, that's okay. I can wait. You know what? I just want you to get closer to me. I'm like, you know what? You're not that far to me, that's one of my personal goals I set this year was to meet people that I've either friended or interviewed, and I'm doing pretty good on that so far. So it's anticipated that I'm going to come to either Missouri or Nashville. So I'm going to nab both of you at one time or another because Doug's coming on the show next month. In fact, I think in a week and a half, Doug's coming on the show. So I'm going to corner him on the same stuff. So don't feel bad. It's not a Josey thing. It's pretty much a Michael Stover, any of his clients, meshing, touring, taking over the country. Just so you know, he's going to kill me when he hears this. I can see it. Okay, I would love to talk about this next thing because, well, I hope so because he scares me when he gets mad. So I'm like, if he yells at me, I'm going to, like, blame you or something. Oh, no, you're too young. I can't blame you. I'll blame Ed Roman. He's a good candidate. Yeah, we'll blame Ed. Let us talk about, because, of course, you were involved with this before when I first talked to you. You serve as what we call an angel ambassador for the nonprofit, which is, of course, Angels and Doves, and that's all about the anti-bullying campaign, and I've even seen you post about it and talk about it. So refresh the memory of people that might be new listeners or hadn't heard the last interview in terms of what's the significance to you supporting an anti-bullying campaign of any kind, and second of all, how you've used your music to accomplish that mission to try to eliminate anti-bullying.
Definitely. Well, just kind of the background of Angels and Doves. Angels and Doves is a national anti-bullying organization that goes around and kind of talks to schools about bullying and what to do and how to handle the situations, and how to get involved with it and how to recognize when bullying is happening. And they're just a really phenomenal organization. And I have never personally been bullied myself, so I've been very fortunate with that. But I have witnessed before, and every time I've witnessed it, I've been the one to kind of step in and say, hey, this needs to stop. And, just being a part with it and really trying to make a difference, it makes me happy to know there are people out there that want to make a difference with it, because bullying has kind of become such a big deal anymore, especially with social media coming about. It's making it easier to do, and that's not acceptable on any kind of level. No one should ever be picked on because of how they look or how they dress or what they like or what they listen to, and because that's just not fair. Everyone is going to like different things, and different things are going to make them happy. So as long as you're happy, you shouldn't be picked on because of that. So, and so like I said, just being a part of them and just kind of representing it is really exciting. And along with music, because music is so powerful and can reach so many people and have so many different meanings. And it's just a wonderful way to kind of connect with people and to say, maybe not necessarily say face-to-face, hey, I'm here, but they can understand, yeah, there's people that deal with this too. So, I'm very fortunate to be able to be in the music industry and have these kind of connections and be able to connect with people like that. So it's definitely really rewarding and really exciting.
And, of course, obviously, in terms of using your music, do you foresee continuing to utilize different ballads to break through and kind of say, hey, this is significant, this is important, because sometimes celebrities, as they get more famous, of course, it becomes difficult because you're pulled in a lot of directions to support I would imagine, support all different kinds of causes.
Oh, yeah, and I definitely, especially when releasing music, I'm going to try to stick with it, having or representing something. And it might not always be bullying, but it's always going to have a strong message with it. I mean, just like Red, White, and Blue is about to come out, it's a really strong patriotic song. And so I just want to always have songs like that that are going to have a really good, strong message behind them. And sure, not every song you'll be able to find is going to have that message. It's just going to be like a fun dancing song. But, as long as I still have really good music out there, people still really are able to connect to it, then that's okay. That's good with me because, a good song can change someone's life. And I remember whenever I released Not Pretty Enough, I actually had a lady who was, I believe she said she was in her mid-30s, that contacted me on Facebook and said how much she loved my song. And it made such a difference in her day, and it's made her have a whole different view of her day and a whole different view of her life, and just made her happier just because of that song. And it definitely really warms my heart when I hear stuff like that, just to know that I'm able to connect with people and make their day better just by releasing a song. And so like I
Exactly.
said, to be able to be in this industry and do that and to reach a vast majority of people, it's super exciting, super rewarding.
Of course, without a doubt. Now, if we ourselves wish to get involved with the Angels organization, tell us the easiest way in which we can volunteer time or donations, or what's the most effective way to try to put the X-nay, basically, on anti-bullying?
Exactly what you just said. You can go donate. If you go to the website, angelsandevs.com, they have all their information on there. You can make donations to help them out with their journey. And even if you aren't necessarily right involved with the organization, just stepping up and trying to control the situation like that is the best thing you can do. If you don't step up, then who's going to? And, if someone doesn't step out, what's going to happen in that situation? So, if you step in and try to help a bullying victim and help the situation, then you can potentially save a life of someone, because bullying ends in so many suicides anymore. And just step up and try taking a chance. And you might not be the bravest person, but I can promise you, if you can step up or get enough courage to do it, that person's going to appreciate you and is going to cherish you for the rest of their life because of what you're able to do for them. And even if you cannot step in yourself, you feel like you can, or it's not your place, then go get someone, an authority figure or a parent or a teacher or just someone, so they can get involved so the situation gets resolved and gets taken care of.
Well put. See what I mean? She's pretty and she's smart. Wow. And she's charitable. Holy crap. You're so impressive. It's sickening in a good way. I mean, in the nicest kind of way. Speaking of which, because you just brought Doug Briney into the conversation, I wanted to mention to individuals, another thing I just found out is both yourself and Doug Briney, of course, are going to be performing at the Country Fan Jam, which goes on from June 11th to the 14th, and that's 2015, by the way, Michael Stover. Just want to let you know. Let your boss know he put 2014 on the post, because I was looking on your page and it says Nashville, June 11th to 14th, 2014. I'm like, Michael, that was last year. So just throwing that out there, anybody who's listening. It's 2015, June 11th to the 14th. It's my job, point things out. I am a journalist. And that's, of course, in Nashville, Tennessee, once again. Want to talk a little bit about that, because apparently there was an inference of you need to use the promo code for you and for Doug, because I know that that's helpful to you. And then second of all, tell individuals of the specific dates and times that you're playing, for how long. Are you featured artists? Are you working in conjunction? Talk a little bit about the fanfare itself, or the fan jam, I should say.
Yeah, well, that is actually fairly new. We're still getting the details worked out ourselves, but as soon as we find them out, they will be on my fan page. And
Great.
I'm very excited about that. Whenever we found that out, it's something that's kind of a huge step. So to get that opportunity, we were freaking out a little bit, not going to lie. And yeah, you can purchase tickets to the event. If you purchase tickets through me, use the code JMM. And if I can be one of the first 25 artists to sell 100 tickets, I believe it is, then I get to perform on pretty much what you would consider the main stage. And so I really appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh,
really
how exciting is this?
So, yeah. And I believe,
that's
if I
absolutely
remember
awesome.
If I remember correctly, there's going to be an article in the Country Music Weekly magazine about it as well, including articles about the artist. So it might be a magazine. I think. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. So.
Gee. Wow.
I know, right?
Wow. Holy mackerel. I'm impressed on that one, of course. And if this is a 4-day event, or I should say 11 days. Yes, it's a 4-day event, obviously. So I'm going to guess that there's just a culmination of all sorts of different artists that are going to be there. Is there one in particular that you might have some downtime where you're going to run and say, hey, I want to go check out this artist or this person? Or do they not allow you downtime?
I really haven't even had a chance to go and look at everything right now. We're still on the peak, because that's during CMA week, and so we're already going to be down there as is.
Oh, right.
Hopefully having another couple of performances. So we still got to get details worked out. Still got to get schedules figured out and performances figured out. So we still got quite a bit. I mean, of course, it's coming up here pretty soon, but there's still a little bit in the process we got to work on.
Oh, exactly. And it's a work in progress. You know that yourself. When you're involved in 50 million projects, it's like then everybody's asking you, what are you doing with this and this? And you're like, oh, wait, no, there's this and there's this, and I know what you're talking about. So, like you said, we'll keep that information posted up. I always like to post up information as it comes along to me, so I have no problem with letting the word out as far as that goes and such, letting people know that that's happening, obviously. I also want to note that one of the public appearances that you had listed was May 2nd, and I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm going to try. Aldila Pro Rodeo Dance. Did I get that right? I probably screwed that up.
The Abdallah. You were close.
See? See what I'm talking about? I can't even talk. Nice. Very nice. Okay. So that's going to be your next actual rodeo, because I know, for those of you that are first listening into Josey, when I first interviewed her, a lot of what you had done in the past was circulating around the rodeo circuit and doing all sorts of different venues and promotions relative to that. So how did you get yourself involved with this? And also tell us the location of that, because it didn't indicate to me where folks have to go to find you there.
Definitely. Well, actually, along with being a spokesperson for Angels and Doves, I'm actually a patient ambassador for the Shriners Hospitals for Children, and they're a hospital that pretty much takes in any child and who has any kind of medical needs. And fortunately, I became a patient with them whenever I was 5 years old because I have congenital scoliosis. Now, I had surgery whenever I was 13 to get my spine straightened out because my spine pretty much looked like an S. And so they went in, they fused my back with bone marrow, and they put pins and rods down the top half of my back. And it was about a $200,000 surgery, and they paid for every single penny of it. So we are forever grateful for them and what they did for me. And so because of that, I am a patient ambassador for them. And the Abdullah Shrine is just kind of like another part of the Shriners. They're the ones that go out and raise the money for the hospitals. And they're having a dance on May 2nd that's kind of bring up the rodeo they always have. And now around the Kansas City area, the Abdullah Shrine Rodeo is kind of one of the biggest events around here. And so they always have a dance. That's what they call their to kind of get the festivities going for that. So I'll be there on May 2nd to perform at their venue, which is up in Kansas City. And then on May 23rd, I believe, is their actual rodeo, and I'll be there to sing the national anthem and to also be signing autographs and just talking to people. So once again, I love the Shriners, so to be able to be at any of their events, it's really exciting.
Oh, that is really awesome. It is. But, of course, that means I have to, go all the way to Missouri or otherwise just to get your autograph, because I'm like, wow, I have to get, an autograph. I don't have an autographed Josey Milner anything right now. I have a Doug Briney autograph CD. I have an Ed Roman autograph something. I have Michael Pearson music. I have nothing from Josey Milner.
Fine.
Okay,
you know what? I will get that in the mail. I will get that in the mail so you have one, okay?
I knew if I won. I knew it. I knew if I tried to get something. God, that's ridiculous. Thank you. I'm glad. But I have something for you before the end of the show, so that'll make you even happier than my complaining about that. Now, I want you to be quiet for a minute. I just want everybody to listen to this rundown a little bit. So this is Josey Milner, kind of, sort of, and this is just a small increment of what she's accomplished thus far. Her song Pretty Enough has topped the Indie World Chart. Her song Cowgirls, of course, in addition to her current nomination, was #1 on the New Music Weekly. She has been nominated by the Nashville Universe Awards, Independent City Music Association Awards, International Music and Entertainment Association Awards. She has been on the top 20 as far as most popular artists for CMT.com. And she's nothing short of beautiful. She could probably model as well. And that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as that goes. And that's just on the nomination/award side of the thing. One of the first things I noticed about Josey the last time that she came on my show is that she has such a propensity to parallel Patsy Cline. And I know that we've talked about that because I'm going to be playing your song shortly here, which is, of course, your version of Walking After Midnight. So maybe just reminisce a little bit and let people know that didn't hear, again, the other interview, how you channel that Patsy Cline the way that you do, because maybe I'm just a Josey fan, but I think that you do amazingly well paralleling someone who's such an icon of that time, you know what I mean, because she was a legend. So talk a little bit about how you honed your craft to the point where you could parallel such a genius.
Definitely.
I'm saying.
Like I said, Patsy Cline is a phenomenal artist, and I'm so upset that she was taken, kind of at the tip of her career. Right. But, I've always loved her music, and I've always really just loved singing to her music. And growing up, kind of the old classic country music like Patsy is what I listened to. And, growing up with that kind of music, I've always just kind of had that tone with me of what good classic country music is. And when we first got into this industry, I knew I wanted to do a kind of a classic country song, but I really couldn't decide. Until, of course, I was singing along to some of those songs we had played in, and I was like, oh, my gosh, why haven't I thought of this? Mm-hmm. And Walking After Midnight played, and I was like, you know what, this is the song I'm doing right here, right now. It's decided. And we went in the studio and we did it, and, of course, it was definitely very nerve-wracking because Patsy Cline is Patsy Cline. But, I hope I could have done it justice, and I like to think I did because, people are always saying they love it, love my version of it, and how it's a little vamped up, but it's still Patsy. And so, it's exciting for people to be able to say, hey, I really like this. Even though it's a Patsy Cline song, you do really good with it. And, every time I go perform it, it's one of my favorite songs to perform and whatnot. So.
Oh, goodness gracious, look at that. And I would love to see you perform it in person, actually. Is that one of your mainstay or staples, I should say, for every set that you do when you're performing?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a song I always put in there. No matter the venue, no matter where I'm at, no matter the amount of time I have to perform, Walking After Midnight tends to be one of the songs I put in there.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, I'll just shut up because you are your best representation of you. So let's go ahead and play the song Walking After Midnight for your fans, and let's see what they think.
After midnight, out into moonlight, just like we used to do. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. I walk for miles along the highway. Well, that's just my way of saying I love you. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you.
Now, here's the funny part. When I listen to that, I forget that it's you because you scare me when you sing, because you have such a deep-sounding voice. And then we click back to you right now, and you're like, ee, and you totally don't even sound like that. It's like, is it you, really? I mean, seriously, do you ever listen to that and you're like, the pitch and tone is so different than you. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. I get that all the time. Actually, I performed recently at the Missouri Fair Showcase, and there was one of the players brought his girlfriend, and I guess on the way up there they listened to my music just so he could remember kind of what we were playing. And they got there, and I'd never met her before, I'd never seen her before or anything. And she got there, she's like, oh my gosh, I pictured you so differently, and I didn't think you're this little girl and you're singing this big voice. I just started laughing because I get that all the time, and it cracks me up just because I know myself, especially when I go and listen to myself, like, oh, that doesn't sound like me. What are you talking about? But, yeah.
See? So it's not just me, and everybody thinks I'm crazy for saying that, but I'm like, it's funny how when you interview a musician, it's not just you, it's a lot of them. You bring a musician onto the program, and then all of a sudden you play their works and their material, and it sounds nothing. Like Hicks doesn't sound like, you interview him, he sounds like he's Swedish. But when you listen to his music, none of that comes out. Charlie Hunnam is on television. He's from England. You never guess that by listening to him. So I think it's just a trick you all have. You're just kind of like, I'm going to do music, and I'm going to fool everyone. I'm just not going to be me. I'm going to be different. See, I'm on to you people. See, I keep interviewing you musicians. I'm going to learn a little something. I'm getting my education. Now, before I forget to bring this up, because I don't know if you know this or not, first of all, if you're listening to this, the other great accomplishment that Josey Milner has done is she managed to get in one of my books. I've done 4 books. My very last book, of course, in Celebrity Chats, Josey Milner is a part of, just like Doug Briney, just like Jiggly Jones, just like Michael Stover. I had to think of it. Yes, Michael's in the book. He hasn't been on the show. Get that. But he's gotten in the book. Imagine that. So he's going to have to come on my show now. But Josie's got an entire section where I've done a lovely write-up, or what I think is a lovely write-up of her, and a beautiful picture of her. And Michael and I tried this at one time. You were going to be playing a coffee shop, as I recall, and we tried to orchestrate a book signing and a gig at the same time, to where I would come out there, you would do your gig, and that fell through, and I got frustrated because I'm like, I've been trying to orchestrate book signings with gigs. So I was going to throw that out to you and say to you, hey, I'm willing to, and I think I offered this before. I'll come out to Missouri when you have an orchestrated gig, and then I'll live interview you. You could perform. We could do a book signing, and then I have no issue with taking back some of the proceeds to this anti-bullying project that you're working on. Because I could orchestrate it.
Great. I think it would be
It does sound awesome. Yeah, Michael, you got to work on that too. Poor Michael. I put this post up like, oh my God, you have to do this for her, this for her, this for her. And by the way, she wants Nashville. I'm serious. You'll see this on Facebook. It's funny. It's true. Hey, you got to think big, girl. You're young, but you have to think big. That's all I'm saying as far as that goes. Now, I don't want to forget to do two things here. First of all, let me go through the rundown of all the ways, in case you guys don't know Josey Milner, to find her on social media. So we have your website, which is joseymilnermusic.com. Your music can be found on YouTube, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. You have a Twitter account, which is and that's Josey, and then underscore, and then Milner is spelled Milner. You're on Instagram, and that's @Josey Milner. And then on Facebook, you've got your two pages, which is your personal one, and, of course, Josey Milner, the musician. It says musician/band. Are there other places or ways that people can find you if they look for you out there?
You've pretty much covered it all. I mean, the only other places would be iTunes, or if you want to check me out on YouTube or Reverb Nation. But for the most part, you got them.
Wow. For the most part, she says. Oh, my goodness gracious, look at that. Well, you've been on my show before, so you know how this works. We've reached the very tail end, which means I get to tell you what I think of you. And I have told you what I thought of you one time before. But now I've had you on the show for a second time. So this basically is just my impressions of Josey, so everybody else knows what I think, and I'll kind of reiterate to you one more time what I think of you. And it's not bad, if you recall from the first time. Just so that everybody knows, the people that have never met Josey Milner before, or have ever talked to her, or have ever heard her music before, the very first thing that I want to say, first and foremost, is that Josey is just a collection, a creative collection of class, for lack of a better term. The first thing that I ever learned about you when I first interviewed you on my show is the fact that you have this tenacity for being so sweet and so welcoming and so lovely to every single person you meet. Your charm is genuine. Your smile is genuine. Every single song, every single thing that you channel comes across as just this really sweet, cute little young country girl that at heart and at the base heart is a student, is a child that's pleasing and lovely to her mom, is a friend to tons and tons of people, is a role model for young women that are up and coming, on top of which I'm hearing from Michael Stover that you're one of the best clients he's ever had. But he says that about every client, so we just won't even go there as far as that goes. I think this talent tops the charts. And Nashville agrees, because you're getting 75 different awards and things that go on in your life as far as that goes. The true pleasure that I have is it's not very often that I get to host a young artist that I have such tremendous faith in, and that I can honestly and truthfully say that I've been proud of for a very long time. I might have been quiet on your page, but I follow your journey. I might be quiet as it relates to singing your praises, but that doesn't leave me with anything to talk about if you don't keep coming on my show. So the only thing that I can say to you is that you need to orchestrate a time and a place where I can show up and sing your praises to the rest of the world nationally. And that if there's anything that I can do to further your career or you as a person, know that I'm willing to do so, because I just am completely over the charts impressed by you. Now, I was a year ago, and I continue to be, and I wish you nothing but love and success for the future, in case you didn't know that. That's it. That's my take on you, Josey, but I told you that last time. You can breathe now, dear. Oh my gosh. Oh, of course. That's what we're here for. We're here to make you look good. If I didn't make you look good, then Michael would call me up and yell at me, and he'd say, Sin, you're not doing your job. And then I have to listen to him, and he's all over my back, and we don't want to have to deal with that. So I don't like to piss off Michael. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. You're a young girl. You can't swear when you're on the show. But that's okay, because we finished up and everything and all that good stuff. Please make it a point, though. Do send me over the information. Or Michael, send me over information so I can post up about Midwest Music Awards again, so we can post on that. We can post on Red, White, and Blue, the single, when it comes out. I have no problem with posting up about Angels and Doves as far as that information. And definitely the stuff as far as for you and Doug for the fan jam. Definitely want to know all that stuff. So stay in contact with me, please, if you would.
I definitely will, in good time, because I've actually got to run to a meeting kind of for the honors of
see?
sophomore.
Look at that.
College,
We wrapped up perfectly. Hey, you know what? School before Cindy, that's for darn sure. But do stay in contact, my dear, definitely. I look forward to seeing what's going to evolve over the next year.
I definitely will. And thank you so much. It was so nice to talk to you again. And thank you for what you said about me. Like
dear.
I said, I appreciate that so much. And, you know, to have that extra
Anytime.
support, I really do appreciate it.
You are just a sweetheart, Josey. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. And like I said, just send me all that information and make sure you stay in contact with us, and we'll get something orchestrated. Now, go run off and do what you got to do. I have to talk about you a little bit more.
All right. We will talk to you later, and thanks again.
All right, dear. Take care. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Goodness. She is just nothing short of absolutely fabulous, isn't she? So let me just go through the rundown one more time. Website, joseymilnermusic.com. Her information, or I should say, her songs can be found on YouTunes. Okay, and this is without alcohol. Let's try this again. YouTube, iTunes, Reverb Nation. Also, she has a Twitter handle, which is @ and then Josey and then _ Milner. Instagram, which is @Josey Milner. And she has 2 Facebook pages, which is her personal page, and then, of course, Josey Milner as musician. As always, first and foremost, I always want to thank the person that made it, just a joy to get to know Josey and, of course, orchestrate this interview, which is Michael Stover of MTS Management. Couldn't do a thing without you, buddy. I thank you so much for Josey, for Ed, for Doug, for Michael, for every person you ever brought. I mean, you top and excel the charts at getting talent, and I thank you so much for everybody you bring to the table for me. Don't want to forget to remind everybody on Sin's Chat Corner tomorrow, and that would be 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. We have one of the co-authors of the murder mystery, which is Murder in McHenry, and that goes along with our Mafia Month. So please be sure to tune in, and that's 5 o'clock Central.
What you doing? Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony. Stop! At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory. Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing? Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony. Stop! At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory. Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.